Okay, we are live. Hello and welcome everybody to another interview. We've got expert chat today with an awesome guest, Christy Rackham from My Holistic Nurse. Hi, Christy.
Hey,
Welcome.
hello. Hi, Melissa. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
I'm really excited to have you here on our expert chat today
Thank you.
because you have chosen to speak with us about something that is called Finding Soul as an Antidote to Stress. And that sounds freaking amazing. But I want to know what that's all about. Can you tell me a bit more about what that's about and how can I
Yeah,
do it?
I will try. I will try to keep it into a nutshell that's, bite size. I've been an intuitive healer for a really long time, almost 30 years. And through my journey in business and different types of industries, I was always sort of lacking. There was always something missing, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. I had a lot of trauma in my late teens and early 20s, and was always constantly running this sort of anxious undercurrent of stress and trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, social anxiety disorder. But I masked it really well. I was really good at pretending everything was wonderful. But under the surface, it was all really messy. And eventually, I had my kids, and you've got kids, Mel? I'm not sure.
I do. I've got a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Yeah, cool. Well, mine are 11 and 12, and I'm sure lots of the mums in the group are mums, and they're here for a reason. Trying to do mums and business is not easy. But when I had my kids, it all kind of fell in a massive heap because all of my trauma came to the surface through childbirth. It triggered all of these sort of things, the things that I'd suppressed and shoved down. And from there, I kind of went on a journey of trying to figure out who I was. I did not know. There were all these layers of stress and angst and anxiety and messy. And then I had these kids, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to sort my shit. Excuse me, ladies. Because because I'm passing this on to my kids, and the more I researched, the more obvious it became that you cannot separate who you are from what you do. And through that journey, I discovered that when you peel back the layers, the limiting belief systems, you heal the traumas, you change your mindset, you start to become more and more familiar with your real, true, authentic self. And from there, stress starts to drift away. You can actually find parts of you that you didn't know existed, strengths that you had no idea were present, latent gifts, latent talents, hidden, abilities that come to the surface once you haven't got all those, what I call stress skins, wrapping you up and keeping you tight and frozen and confused and stressed out. Once you can get rid of those, you start to shine through. And when you shine through from the inside out, you create a ripple effect that then you can magnetize back to you. And stress no longer plays a pivotal role in what you do. You're coming from a different place, a much higher place. Some people call it the super consciousness, which I love that term. It's really fun. Some people call it soul. Some people call it the God force, the matrix, whatever. You get to tap in to extra energy. And I don't know about you, but if you can have extra energy as a mum in business, makes things a lot easier. And there's also this higher knowing, this guiding force that allows you to make decisions with greater ease and joy. And you get where you feel you need to be in a much more streamlined, joyful way.
Yeah, wow. Okay, there was a lot in that.
How was that?
I want to try and pull out a couple
Narrow
of
that down. Go for it. Good luck.
Okay, so you said stress skins. So are you talking about like layers or walls that we've put up over the years in response to, experiences we've had, traumas we've had, that sort of thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Look, right from a very early age, we're born into environments, and through no fault of anybody's, we form opinions, beliefs, understandings about the world that we live in. Some people say that's the first 7 years. In my research and experience, it goes a whole lot further than that. But in those first 7 years, the being is developing an understanding of their physical survival reality. So if you come in and you've got a mismatch between you, your soul self or your energy blueprint, and what your environment is offering you, that mismatch can cause stress on its own. But then on top of that, you're being introduced to layers and belief systems that are from your lineage, from your parents, from the milkman down the road, your teachers at school. And these layers and layers and layers of beliefs start to shroud the you that you came in to be. And over a process of, time and self-development, naturally you will come back to a place of realizing that all of those constructs don't feel good. They don't feel right. They feel odd and like a misfitting skin, and they start to become tight and restrictive. And most people experience this in their teens and start to break free in their late teens, early 20s. But some people get stuck in these old skins, and it becomes more and more painful. And then when you compound that, it becomes what we call a complex trauma. So it's the little things that build up and up and up until you can't take it anymore. And you either have a physical illness that manifests, or a mental illness, or an emotional breakdown, whatever you want to call it. I call that soul sickness. It's when we're just so far from who we were meant to be on this planet that we just can't tolerate it anymore. So those layers, you can start to take them off.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it sounds very similar to a lot of work that I've done in the past, limbic imprint recoding. That's, this is the same thing you're talking about, is the imprints that we receive from everybody and everything we experience, from the moment of, even from the moment of conception through pregnancy.
It is and depending on your belief system, it's absolutely from conception. Depending on your belief system as well. I don't like the term past life because in my experience and understanding, it's actually multi-dimensions that are simultaneous, and you can tune in to different ones at different times, which might be a little bit out there for people. But, if you want to explore that with me, let me know. But yes, I work with a couple of different techniques to unravel a lot of those imprints. One of them is called matrix re-imprinting. I use EFT tapping. I use a technique that I developed called therapeutic applied percussion intuitive transformation therapy. There's acute care and there's intuitive transformation therapy. Because I've been doing this work for a really long time. And I had to live the hard stuff first, and try it all out and see what worked and what didn't. It's been a lifelong journey for me to shed those skins and find my shine again.
Yeah, fantastic. I love this work, and there's probably not much that you can say to me that's going to sound too out there.
Awesome. Let's go.
I know the audience will be at different levels of,
of course,
knowledge, belief, where they stand on it.
Sure.
But so you, in this field of work, the idea is that we come to this lifetime with a soul or a blueprint that is unique to us. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And one of the interesting things in my research since I started this research with a couple of different people when I was 20, what we have found now that it's not woo-woo out there anymore. Things that I always sort of knew and understand it intuitively have now been scientifically validated. So this is not some crazy out there lady telling you something that's not real. What we know to be true now is that our heart, every beat that our heart takes, has in each beat its own unique frequency signature that is like your fingerprints. Wow. Every single person has a different fingerprint. Every single person on the planet, and this blows my mind, every single person on the planet has their own unique heart signature.
Wow.
So every time your heart beats, there's a bandwidth of frequencies inside that heartbeat that are actually translatable to musical tones. And you can actually play this and hear your unique heart signature. It's pretty magical.
Goodness.
Yeah, this was cutting edge science 28 years ago. The software is really hard to get, and it's not easily accessible, but I had the direct experience of helping the scientist. He was an ex-NASA physicist, developing this software. I was one of his first experimentees, and we trialed different emotions. So we measured different emotions and what they do to the heart. And then we went through a meditative process to access heart and soul of me, Christy. And when I was in that deep state of awareness of myself, my true self, we could measure that. And then the output was musical tones. It was quite
that's fascinating.
Amazing. Yeah, this isn't woo-woo. It's real tangible science, and every single person has this. So I call it your energy blueprint, but other people call it, heart
energy blueprint. Awesome. So when we are not in alignment, or when we are not living life in a way that's in alignment with our energy blueprint, that's when we feel stressed and like shit, as you said before.
Yeah, we're either in every action that we take and every thought that we're having. Sorry, I didn't sleep last night. I'm right in the middle of menopause, so the words are coming out a little scrambled because I didn't sleep. Hot flushes all over the place. If I go red, that's why. So we're either moving in each decision that we make. And each of our behaviors and actions in the world, we're either moving closer to our soul alignment or we're moving further away. You will know, because if you're moving further away from your true self, it creates a stress response in the body, mind, spirit, and you will experience heightened anxiety. You will experience, irregular heartbeats. You will experience dissolution in your relationships. You will experience a business that isn't rolling, isn't working for you when you're not in alignment. So it pays to be conscious of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, so that you can have the freedom to choose. It's not about making the right choice. Nobody ever makes the right choice all the time. That's completely irrational. But we can be conscious of what's being driven from deep patterning and imprinting that's not us, versus what is being driven by a soul's desire and a heartfelt alignment to bring us into that place of energetic blueprint, which is where our potency lives. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Absolutely. Because when we're in alignment, we have got just so much more of everything, so much more clarity, so much more energy, so much more drive, so much more connection.
And it's easy because it's not coming from a mental space of efforting, of trying to get stuff done, of trying to be somebody you're not, of trying to fulfill the roles that you think you should fulfill according to the imprints of society and your parents and generations past that are no longer relevant here and now. So
the question, Christy, this is something that is for many people not easy to monitor moment to moment. We can't stop every minute and every little decision we make throughout the day and go like, oh, am I really in alignment? Is this, So
yeah.
And a lot of people
you don't want to do that either, because you generate a hypervigilance and then you become stressed about hypervigilance. So
exactly right. But a lot of people aren't even aware that they're not living in alignment, or that they're not. You can see the results, right? Things aren't working out. Everything's difficult. It's stressful. But how can we, what's something really easy? How can we start to become more aware of the response in the body and the feeling and the emotions? Like, where do we begin?
Yeah, well, I have a whole range of courses at taking people from the very beginning to the very mastery levels of what I call sacred energy mastery. It's sacred because without the energy, you've got nothing left, right? If you haven't got energy, you haven't got health, you haven't got work, you haven't got money, So one of the reasons I developed therapeutic applied percussion was because the first step is awareness. All the awareness in the world, though, isn't going to change your reality unless you actually marry that with action as well. So awareness is just the first little element. And one of the most brilliant tools for this is mindfulness. But when you couple mindfulness with a physical action, drumming rhythmically, and a combination of breathing through therapeutic applied percussion, it takes you out of the fight flight systems in the mind and connects you to your body wisdom. And the more you do this, there's the reasons it works I won't go into, but the more you are able to get out of your head and start to feel your body and your emotions, it gives you the capacity to change the actions that you take in the world. It opens up like a gap between the thoughts and the physical manifestation of those thoughts, which is an action. So by finding a moment in time and space to quickly de-escalate your stress levels, you then start to access a higher wisdom. It's not easy to start with, and it really is a practice that you need to be doing regularly, which is why I developed TAP, because it works in 3 to 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes you out of that crazy headspace, takes you out of the anxiety, takes you out of the confusion and the what I call decision fatigue, you know, when you're bouncing between ideas and you're like, I have no freaking clue what to do next.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and you get frozen in fear because if I go this way, that could happen. If I go this way, that could happen. I don't know. So it takes you out of that, puts you into your heart and soul, into your body, and it buys you time and space to connect with your heart. And over time, you can start to hear what I call your heart voice, which is connected to your blueprint. And the more you practice this, the more you can hear what your heart and soul wants for you, the easier it is to then take actions in alignment with that instead of from the reactive mindset that's being driven by all those unconscious imprints. So, yeah, it is a daily practice, but the daily practice is cumulative too. So the more you do it, some of my clients, we start out taking, usually an average person will take 6 minutes to de-escalate and find center and calm. But over time, you can get that down to almost an instantaneous response because the mind is plastic, it's movable, it's mutable. So the more you do these active triggers to come out of here and into here, the faster it works. So I can do it instantly. The minute I start tapping and I set my intention to be calm and use therapeutic applied percussion, it's done.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Yeah. But it takes a lot of practice and regular commitment to self first.
Absolutely, because it's you're retraining your brain and you're retraining your responses. So you're breaking a habit because the way we respond to things at the moment is just the habitual pattern that we've built up over many, many years, right? We're trained to respond this way. Something's not working. You've been trained to respond with stress or anger or frustration or sadness. So you have this technique now that can take you back to calm and center, but of course that's not something that you do. You don't just decide, I'm going to just do this now. You have to practice it. You have to get used to the idea that this is the new response, not the old way that I've been trained.
Yeah. And a lot of people get hung up on not being perfect at it too and doing it wrong, because since we've been kids, we've been taught that's not the right way to do things. Your emotions are wrong. Your thinking is wrong. You're not achieving correctly. You're not getting the right piece of paper. You're getting a C instead of an A. We've been trained into this perpetual chronic stress response. And it's going to, of course, take a little bit of time to reverse some of that. But in my experience, the reason I developed TAP was because it's the most highly leveraged tool I could figure out. I've researched to the end of time. And I'm not the kind of person who wants to sit around meditating for 2 hours, omming. That wasn't suitable for me. I had young children. I was trying to run a business on my own. I've been single since they were born. So I didn't have time to sit and meditate. That was not doable. But over the years, using this technique and a bunch of other things, because I am a holistic nurse. Sorry, just turn off that. I am a holistic nurse. So what I also discovered was you need to approach a transformation from multiple angles at once. And if you can do that, you get far greater results in a far shorter space of time. So TAP allows both a mental adjustment of the mindset. You're creating a new pathway to a better outcome that feels nicer, right? In short, the breathing switches off the part of your brain that's panicked and connects you to your heart, because it's a very specific kind of breathing. It's not just, there's a very specific technique that we use. And then the tapping actually changes the response through the nervous system as well. And it works subtly using rhythm and sound. You can't hear the sound with your ears, but the sound of drumming actually creates a new energetic pattern that your cells start to read. And it's very technical in the science, but it's not so hard once you actually do it. But by using all three actions simultaneously, you get a super fast result. So you don't need to be spending half your day trying to meditate and calm down. And we don't ask you to silence your thoughts either, because that's not easy to do. I don't know anybody who can do that.
I've never been able to do that. I definitely go for different techniques that don't require me to stop thinking.
But the point is leverage. So you couple something like that with adjusting small adjustments in your diet, a 5% change in your diet. There's proven science about the gut-brain connection now. So if you're changing your diet just slightly by adding more greens in, that's going to create a 2 to 5% change in your overall stress levels and your well-being. You add half a lemon juice in warm water in the morning to your daily routine, you're alkalizing your blood, which means bacteria can't live in your blood very easily. And so you get this overall easing of toxicity on the body. Then you can start to hear the body better. Then you can start to hear your heart better. So all of these little tweaks over time add up to a massive cumulative transformation, and you start to see it in your business too. There's a ripple effect that happens, because when you're not stressed, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the front of the brain, which is responsible for coherent emotion, being able to manage your emotion, creativity, executive thinking. So your ability to make intelligent choices is enhanced. Memory suddenly comes back online, and I'm having to use this a lot right now with menopause. I don't know if any of the others in the group have started menopause, but
I'm sure there are some.
I had to revisit all my tools, tweak a couple of things, because my body was telling me I was still, there were certain things that were stressing me now where they weren't before I started into menopause. So adjusting your lifestyle, looking at business tasks that aren't serving you, that are wasting your energy. How much time do we spend running in circles, not getting anywhere? But when you can listen to your heart and soul, your intuition comes forward, and you can make easy choices that streamline your business processes. So, sorry, blah, 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 I talk a lot.
That we won't have time to go into, all of that around the business side of things right now, Christy, but like we need to be doing, like, a lot of women need to be doing that in their business, and I've been through that journey myself. And when you can streamline, and when you can get fully in alignment, and when you can stick to just the tasks that really are meaningful and important to the results that you want, I mean, that is a whole new world and a whole new experience of business.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, but maybe we'll get you back on another time to talk more about that. But okay, so when we come back to who we truly are, does that mean that all stress just falls away?
No, because as long as we're human, we have to respond to stresses in our environment, external environment, as well as our internal environment. And menopause is a good example of that. You know, internal systems changed, it creates a stress response. So you need to be able to identify, oh my goodness, this is altered in me. I need to tweak something. And so listening to your internal stress response versus your outside one is important. But then we have what I like to call energetic weather. We've got actual weather, right? Low pressure systems, high pressure systems. There's energetic weather too, and it's the interpersonal relationships that we have around us. It's the incoming business dramas that kick up every now and then. It's your children going through puberty. It's you know, the kids having a meltdown at school because they had a fight with their best friend. That's external energetic weather, and it impacts us.
Absolutely.
So as long as we're human, we're always going to have stresses to manage.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got these tools, TAP is what I call an acute care tool.
Yeah.
But you also have tools that undo the energy patterns in your system that are traumatic based and are going to respond in a much more blown out way to those weathers. Okay. So for instance, if you have a plant in the garden that hasn't been watered and it's dropping its leaves and it's wilted and it's really struggling and a cyclone comes through, yes, there's beautiful fresh rain for sure, but the force at which that comes in is going to mow that plant over and it's not going to survive. Whereas if you've got a plant that has been nurtured, that has been fed, that has been nourished, that has been cared for and loved and supported, it's fresh, it's healthy, it's strong, it's vibrant, that cyclone coming through, it's going to wobble it for sure, but it's going to stand strong and weather that storm.
Yeah.
We're exactly the same. So you need your daily management tools to handle what's coming in so that you can weather the storm. And then afterwards you clean up around you, but you're still intact. You're still strong. You've still got roots in the ground that are holding you steady, and you can pick up where you left off instead of being completely annihilated by these external things that come in.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to be annihilated every time some shit happens in life.
I spent the first half of my life being annihilated. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm sure we can all relate, right? I'm sure we can all relate.
I hope not too many people can relate to the annihilation thing, because I feel you. If you're going through that, there is help, but you don't have to weather it alone. I think that's the important thing for people to know as well, because as women, we were taught we could do everything, right? In my generation, your generation, we're roughly the same age, I think. We were taught that, yeah, you can have it all, you can do it all. And yes, I think we can, but not all at once.
Yeah.
Not all at once. Please don't try to do it all at once, and please don't try to do it all alone. It's a misnomer, I think, and a myth that we have to be strong and do it all ourselves all the time and all at once. That's not good.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It took me a long time to learn that.
It's not easy.
That is an excellent piece of wisdom for everybody in this group. You know, there is support out there. There are plenty of tools. There are plenty of people who've been through it, have found the solutions, and are there to help. So please don't ever feel like you need to figure this all out on your own.
Not at all.
Christy, your work is fascinating, and I know we could talk all day about it because there's just so much to it. And I personally love the science behind it as well. I'm a bit of a science freak myself. But I guess before we wrap it up for today, and we'll definitely get you back to talk more in the future, but for today, if anybody wants to find you, if they want to learn more about your work or get in touch to find out more about how they can work with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, probably heading to my Soul Family group. And I can never remember the Facebook link for it.
We can pop the link up under the
link, right? So if people join my Facebook group called My Soul Family, I do lives, short lives, long lives, hints, tips, as well as opportunities to work with me in group settings as well as one-on-one if that's of interest. All of that information's there. But the important thing is that when you join that, at the announcements, there's actually a free workshop that I did during the COVID times when we were in lockdown, which takes you through a self-care version of therapeutic applied percussion.
Awesome.
So, yes, because I want everyone in the world to have this technique. You can use it for yourself. You can share it with your children to help them with their daily stresses. It's completely free. There is no catch. If you're somebody who wants to go forward and learn more and have more skills and more tools and get in touch with your deeper soul self, then there are other opportunities for that. But My Soul Family, everything's there, and the announcements, you'll find the link to the free 1-hour course.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing resource. I'm going to definitely check that one out.
That would be awesome. I would love to see all these beautiful ladies in there too. Thanks so much, Melissa.
Oh, thank you, Christy. Like I said, we could go on all day, but we're going to have to wrap it up for now. But yeah, really amazing information. Your work sounds incredibly beneficial, and I know there's plenty of people who need it.
Yes.
And thank you for offering that free resource. We'll definitely go and check that out, and we'll put the link to that under the video. So if you are watching the replay of this, please, if you've got any questions for Christy or for myself, you can pop them under the video, and I'm sure Christy will be happy to check in a bit later on. Just tag her if you can, so that she can answer the questions for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I've really loved it. It's been good fun.
Yes, thank you, Christy. It's been awesome having you here. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of you in the group as well, in Australia Moms in Business, and to learn more about your work.
Absolutely.
Well. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Christy. Thank you, everyone who's watching now or the replay, and we'll see you soon. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.